All right. Welcome, everybody, to today's Monday midday meditation. Doing a little something different today, keeping things fresh. And welcome. Welcome from wherever you are. Today, it's from my home to maybe yours. It's a long weekend, long holiday Monday here where I am, and maybe it is for you too. Or maybe you find yourself in the office or in the car or on your patio. It's a beautiful day. Or perhaps you're catching the recording. So, from wherever you are, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. And so, as usual, we're going to start our time together by finding a very comfortable seat. Get nice and comfortable, nice and able to um, allow the body just to settle. Now, I mentioned if you're in the car, that's going to be a little bit different for you, but you can, still feel the connection of that which is supporting you and you. So, from wherever you are, for wherever you are, and whatever comfortable seat that may be for you today, I want you to just really settle in and allow yourself to release any extra effort into that comfortable seat. Perfect. And then we'll take a few nice, deep, full breaths. Big, full inhale, long, slow exhale. And you can inhale and exhale through the nose, through the mouth, or a combination of the two. Whatever works best for you is perfect. And if it's safe for you to do so, you can close the eyes and just settle in. This is the first step in our meditation, our journey inward. And quite honestly, if this were to be all that we did today, it's a lot. Because every time we do this, every time we break the momentum of what it was that we were doing before, all of the things that were involved in the busyness, even maybe you weren't busy, but you were in the middle of something, even if it was relaxing, we are breaking that momentum of whatever it was so that we can um, create this opportunity for restoration, for renewal, for re-energization, a refresh. Because even by this point in the day, there are things that are already underway, a momentum that has already been created. And so we're stopping that here so that we can refresh. And like I said, if this is all that we were doing together, that is a lot. So I invite you to just be here in this moment. And I will share a little consideration to go alongside this meditation today. But as usual, I want you to, listen just in the background. I don't want you to get too attached to it, to work too hard to make meaning of it or to accept it or challenge it or whatever that might start to arise in you as you listen to something. I want you to touch lightly. The most important work is in cultivating that inner stillness, that refresh. So take a few breaths. And these time and refreshment, spent refreshing, time spent renewing is so critical. One of the reasons is that mostly everything else in our life, we are in intake mode. We intake through the senses, we intake food, we intake water, or we intake nourishment, we intake air, we intake all of these things. And with that constant stream of intake, we can, if we don't kind of break up that cycle, create overwhelm without even knowing it. And especially in today's age where we have access to anything at any time for the most part, definitely access to information at any time and almost nonstop, right? We pick up our phones, you turn on the TV, you listen to the news or watch the news, you pop a podcast in, you read a book, right? Even chatting with friends. We're intaking information all the time. And, whereas in days gone by, or when I was a kid, and maybe when you were a kid too, to get information, yes, you could turn on the TV and watch the news or watch an educational program or a documentary. And yes, you could read the newspaper and you could read books. So often to kind of research something, you would need to go to the library. It was effort. There was a space and distance and time in between the access to information. And during that span of time and distance, we could work on what we learned, or you'd make notes, and then you could work on what you learned, taking the book back to the library or coming home from a research session. But today, the access to information is nonstop. It's at our fingertips. It's within seconds. But what this creates then is the space to digest, the space to make meaning, um, the space to well, it's like I said, digest and assimilate. And that was the word I was looking for. Assimilate is almost non-existent before we're on to the next thing. And so instead of this process of learning, maybe taking notes, assimilating, making meaning, experiencing, we are just taking in more information. So the result of that is that the information doesn't kind of get incorporated so deeply. It's very surface because we can access it at any point in time. We don't have to remember it. We don't have to make meaning. You can just pull it up, or we're on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. So what this creates then, though, is this constant stream of stuff and a habit of just accessing the stuff anytime you want, all the time you want, without even really needing to assimilate or experience or recall or make meaning of, and most importantly, digest. And this is why, or one of the reasons, that stress and overwhelm and burnout are so high, are so high, because it's constant. And the constant access to information is highly regarded, highly coveted, highly valued, and highly respected. in our culture. And, these are all very, very powerful tools. Don't get me wrong. But there is no coincidence that the incidence of stress and burnout and anxiety and overwhelm, and actually dissatisfaction and apathy in our work is at an all-time high. So, the contemplation for today to go along with all of this information that I've shared is that breaks like these are not only nice to have, are not only when you've got the time, are not only um, those days when you've got a little break. They're not indulgent. They are important, critical even, because these are the times when you can assimilate, digest, make meaning. And so as you contemplate and maybe remember this, as I said, not grasping too tightly here to anything that I've shared, but perhaps a little something that you'll have pop back to the surface a little bit here, a little bit later, maybe tomorrow. And of course, you can always come back to the video because the most important part of what we're doing today and what we do every time we do this together is that break, is the pause, and is the reset. You're doing important work here. And I'm so glad that you've chosen to join me today, either live or in the recording. Take a few breaths. And if you like this idea of a reset, you're going to love my new stress score and assessment tool. I've created this very simple tool, as described, to really understand your unique state of stress. And I would love to share it with you. You can discover your unique state of stress through your stress score. And then I give you lots of practical insight to consider alongside this information. Again, information is nothing without the opportunity to understand, make meaning of, assimilate. And all from the perspective of somebody who has been exactly where you are. You have been in that state of stress, overwhelm, and burnout. And now you have access to all the assimilated information that I've gathered over the years into this beautiful, comprehensive, but simple tool. I'll pop the link to it below this video, wherever you find it. And until we meet again next time, please feel free to stay here in this time of reset, in this time of assimilation, with your eyes closed if it's safe to do so. Some nice, full, restorative breaths, and in your comfortable seat. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, my beautiful friend, namaste.